12 News at 10 with Mark Curtis and Caribe Divine starts now.
And we begin in Gilbert tonight, where construction is underway on a fiber optic network with the goal of bringing high-speed internet to more communities. It's a massive project, but tonight, a family says that project has left their home covered in sewage. Good evening and thanks so much for joining us for 12 News at 10. I'm Caribe Divine.
I'm Mark Curtis. 12 News journalist Bianca Bono talked to that family as they try to get the mess cleaned up. You can just imagine. She joins us live in studio. And Bianca, this sounds like an absolute nightmare.
No kidding, it is. This family has now been displaced from their home because they said that the project essentially ended up forcing them to get out of their house due to all of that sewage. And they said it's all because of the company that was installing those fiber optic cables. Now they're still working to clean up their home.
I do get the irony. My last name is Flood.
Nicole Flood and her family dealing with a flood of their own.
It has been a nightmare.
This is the current state of their Gilbert home near Ray and Power Roads. Fans working to dry out the water and sewage that soaked the first floor on October 29th.
It was literally, we were in it.
The day prior, on October 28th, Flood had noticed markings on her street, meaning the town of Gilbert's fiber optic construction project was headed her way. The town entered an agreement with AT&T's fiber venture called Gigapower to provide high-speed network to the town. So it wasn't long before holes were dug up in her and her neighbors' front yards. Around 6 p.m. that Tuesday night, chaos ensued.
Flushed the toilet and it just exploded. We had to shop vac four entire shop vacs full of sewage out. It was coming out faster than we could even get it. It got to about 3 inches.
Quickly calling out a plumber who placed a camera into their pipe, realizing the sewage line had been drilled through, causing the line to break.
To know that you're in somebody else's waste and sewage, and like I said, I was covered head to toe.
They got an emergency hotel room, coming back the next day to talk to construction crews, recording their interactions.
So we're already working on that, so we're going to take care of you.
A sign in the neighborhood indicating the company conducting the work on behalf of Gigapower is called Tilson, and in these videos, a Tilson employee says they in turn hired a subcontractor to do the work who brought in another company.
Who is he?
He's the guy that's going to ultimately pay the bill. It's not the homeowner's problem.
But more than 2 weeks after the mess, it's clear it has become Flood's problem.
This is ground zero.
Flood, a teacher who has had to miss work, has paid more than $8,000 out of her own pocket to repair the pipe and is still not back in her home, which now has flooring and walls completely torn out.
I'm really hoping that Gilbert and Tilson do the right thing.
When asked for comment, a Tilson spokesperson declined to answer specific questions about Flood's home, telling 12 News in a statement, "We work directly with homeowners whenever there is a potential damage claim related to our construction activities. Once we are notified of a possible issue, we prioritize investigating the situation to address and resolve any concerns as quickly as possible." The town of Gilbert denying responsibility altogether, stating Tilson does not have a license with the town of Gilbert. Gigapower does. A town spokesperson said this is a civil matter between the private utility, its contractor, and the resident. When 12 News pushed back, asking if the town bears any responsibility for damage done during town-approved projects, the spokesperson said no. This is not a town project.
They were the ones that gave them a permit to be working here.
As Flood waits for answers, she and her family are staying in an Airbnb, hoping the town and the companies involved make things right.
Help, please. Not even a sorry, but cover the finances of it.
And meantime, Flood is working on dealing with her homeowner's insurance, which is now paying for her accommodations for a month. But so far, that's it. We're continuing to push for answers about this project and the liability in this case. We'll bring you updates as we get them. We're live in studio tonight. Bianca Bono, 12 News.
Police are pointing to road rage as the cause of a deadly shooting on Dunlap near I-17. We first told you about the incident last night at 10. Phoenix police say someone shot 22-year-old Aramis Ross while he was stopped in traffic. Ross died at the hospital from a brain injury. The suspect, who police have not identified, was taken into custody. Police are still investigating but have not said what led to the shooting.
Two roommates have pleaded guilty to hindering prosecution in a Phoenix murder case from last year. Corey Young and Shannon Higgins admitted to delaying medical care for their roommate, 49-year-old Jake Kelly, who was found with severe skull and rib fractures in a driveway near Cave Creek Road last August. This is a photo of the victim. Court records show that Kelly's roommates allegedly waited several hours before taking the wounded man to a hospital. Young also admitted to protecting the alleged killer, 34-year-old Angel Maluli, by concealing their identity from investigators. The murder case remains ongoing.
New at 10, a dramatic crime spree in the West Valley caught on camera. Police say two suspects are behind bars after stealing $50,000 from a Glendale man. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly sat down with Glendale police and tonight breaks down that video.
That man had taken out all that cash to buy a truck. What he didn't know is he was being watched the entire time, leading to what you are about to see. It started as a robbery that turned into a high-speed car chase and ended in a crash. All of it centering around $50,000 in cash.
There's money all over the street.
Jose Santiago with the Glendale Police Department says it happened a week ago when a man who hasn't been named went to the bank and pulled that large sum of money to buy a truck, all while being watched by the two suspects.
They saw how much money he had on him, and they then started following him as he left the bank.
With cash in hand, he drove to this neighborhood to speak with the seller.
And me, like an idiot, I didn't lock the car.
That's when one of the suspects is seen taking the cash and running back to their car. The victim didn't see it, but the person selling the truck did.
He's like, hey, dude, that car took off with something. He stole something out of your car, he said. And he left. We got in the car and we started chasing this guy.
Leading to a high-speed chase between the two, weaving in and out of traffic until the suspects crashed at this intersection. Both get out and take off in opposite direction. One of them is seen grabbing a bag with some of the money inside.
And I was running after him. And then, like I said, I lost him from the front of this complex to over here. And then I seen him. He's like, oh, I'll wait for the cops. I'll wait for the cops. I didn't do nothing.
Both suspects were arrested.
Get on the ground.
Police identified them as Raymond Pouncey and Reginald Chapman. As for the cash, officers found the majority of it scattered throughout the suspect's car, with some of the bills flying into the street.
Do you desire prosecution?
Absolutely, to the highest degree.
Santiago says thankfully no one was seriously injured, but adds there are ways to protect yourself.
You're at either an ATM or in a bank or you're withdrawing money. Be aware of people around you. You really want to take matters into your own hands to protect yourself.
According to court documents, both suspects are from Texas and have long criminal histories. Tonight they are facing charges of burglary and theft. We're in Glendale. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
Wow. All right, Chase, thanks. Let's talk weather with meteorologist Lindsay Riley. We had temps in the 80s today. Just gorgeous, Linz, but it looks like we're cooling down for the weekend.
Yeah, we actually don't have another day in the 80s in the 7-day outlook. Tomorrow, highs are going to be in the low 70s, and then we have 60s on the horizon for this weekend. So cooler air moving on in. Here's the breakdown, at least for the next 5 days. Right now, the average is 77. Right on through the middle of next week, we are below average with Saturday and Sunday in the upper 60s. So pretty chilly. We're also going to see the wind pick up primarily across the high country for tomorrow, out ahead of our storm system that's moving in later this weekend. A wind advisory is posted for 8 in the morning tomorrow through 7 o'clock in the evening. Gusts as high as 55 miles per hour for the areas in tan here. And even here in the lower deserts, we're looking at 20 to 25 mile per hour gusts. So 10-degree temperature drop moving into tomorrow, plus the wind. It's going to feel like a cool Friday, but we can expect a lot of sunshine all across the state. Caribe.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. New at 10, the Navajo Nation has filed its second lawsuit against Apache County over the 2024 election, this time regarding early ballot signature issues. The county reportedly halted ballot processing for 3 days last week, leaving at least 143 Navajo voters with disputed signatures very little time to verify their ballots before Sunday's deadline. The lawsuit alleges that many voters were never even notified of the problems with their ballots. The lawsuit seeks to prevent Apache County from certifying election results until Navajo voters have adequate time to cure their ballots.
Meanwhile, we're following developing news surrounding a new lawsuit against the Phoenix Suns. A former employee is suing the franchise, alleging that she was a victim of retaliation and discrimination. The plaintiff, Andrea Trishan, was hired in 2022 to be a DEI leader for the Suns after the former owner, Robert Sarver, faced widespread criticism for racial and sexual discrimination. The lawsuit filed in federal court on Wednesday shows that Trishan worked for the Suns for about 10 months before she was fired. Her attorney said in a statement that she has substantial evidence of a clear and undeniable pattern of discrimination within the Suns organization. The Suns said in a statement that her claims have been without merit from day one, adding, "We're fully confident the courts will agree her story is completely fabricated." You can read more about the lawsuit right now on 12news.com.